A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. The overall market has now continued its trend in towards the highs over here on the lower time frame. Overall on the 4-hour, what we can see is that we have been creating lower highs, lower low, lower high, and then again a lower low, but now we've created a new higher high. So what I'm looking for euro dollar is overall continuation of this trend further in towards the upside. I'm looking for a pullback for the rest of today and then a continuation further up in towards this extreme area of supply on the short term. Obviously, if we do pull back in towards this area of forward demand, you could also adjust your zone pretty much the entire range. Then what you would want to look for is a lower time frame trend shift. So on the lower time frame, what we would then need to see is a 4-hour change of character. So you would want to see something like this to confirm the overall bias that we are then ready to continue further in towards the highs. So that's what I'm currently looking for. Obviously, we can look for that on the 15-minute time frame, but also on the 4-hour, whatever your preference holds. Personally, I would like to see euro dollar then push up higher, at least in towards this area of 4-hour supply. I know this is a fair value gap, which a lot of traders trade, so we could in fact see a, let's say, a reversal or continuation in towards downside, but per my strategy, I would prefer to see a push at least in towards this area of supply. And either we just start continuing moving up or we pull back in towards that 4-hour area of demand and then continue upwards. Now going in towards the 15-minute time frame, then what are we looking for? So the overall 15-minute time frame has now shifted bullish. So we were bearish in towards the downside. We had a lower low, lower high, and then again a lower low over here, but now we've seen a BOS over here on the 15-minute time frame. So now looking at the overall current structure, what we can then very clearly see is that we have an area of consolidation. So a very clear liquidity low situated over here. So this is your lowest low. So definitely waiting for that to get taken out today, pushing towards that area of demand. If we then see some kind of structure change, then I will be looking for a long trade further in towards the highs. If we do not see any structural change within that area, then obviously I do expect the market to head down lower towards that area of 4-hour demand, because there won't be much stopping price, because we just have this clean move over here to fill. So that is euro dollar for you. Now moving on in towards the dollar index. So the dollar index continued its trend down lower, as we pretty much mentioned in yesterday's video as well. So you can watch that back. The longer you stay inside an area of demand, the weaker it gets. So as we can see yesterday, we just continued the overall trend in towards the downside. Now, for the dollar index, I wouldn't be surprised if we do in fact just continue down lower. We have some supply over here, so we could just push in towards there before then, for example, continuing down lower. So keep your eyes open for that. The 4-hour structure is still bullish. We haven't seen a close below that 4-hour low. However, do keep in mind, I mean, it's not looking very good demand wise, so I would not be extremely surprised if we do push slightly down a little bit lower. Overall, if we go in towards the 1-hour time frame, we just continue to remain bearish in towards the downside as long as the overall order flow holds. So we can clearly see that we get that trend in towards the downside. So a push down, so a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. So now this is your high to break. If the market, for example, today with FOMC news pushes up higher, because we do in fact have red folder US dollar news, and we break this high, then fine, we continue up higher. If we do not, and we just respect the overall supply flow, so for example, the supply flow from here, then yeah, we can just continue down lower. So how do I know that this overall supply flow, for example, over here on the 1-hour is going to hold? Just going towards the 15-minute time frame. Look, what do we see over there? You see this buy for the sell candle, which is still fresh. For example, what could just happen now this morning is that we just liquidate this overall high, pushing towards that supply zone, see a structural shift, and then we just continue in towards the downside. So that is how you can kind of like understand if we are going to just continue down trading lower. Yeah, so if we break this high over here, maybe we just liquidate it and then also spike down, or if we break it and see close above it, then I wouldn't be surprised if we move up in towards this extreme. And then again, this is a decisional, just wait for overall structure change. If we get that structure change, then we expect a drop. If not, we expect it to get broken. So that is the dollar index for you. Now moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So AUDUSD over here on the 4-hour time frame continued moving up as we expected from this area of demand, and now we have reached this daily area of supply. So that supply zone has been holding until now. Obviously, I would prefer to see a quite or slightly further push upwards in towards at least that final area of supply, so that final buy before the sell candle, but we could also already start reversing from here. I'm going to be monitoring the overall price action. Overall, we had this area of consolidation, which we've now tapped into and tapped back out of it. Preferably, you always want to see a move in towards that final sell before the buy candle. But regardless, what you could see today is a further push up in towards this supply zone. And then again, just wait for a structure shift for a potential short. If you don't see any structure shift inside of there, then just stay out. If the overall momentum kicks or continues to kick in and we don't see any structure shift, then obviously we can start grabbing the liquidity above this consolidation range, and this will be our targets. So zone number 1 and zone number 2 will be your targets of supply. So keep that in mind. If we see a structure shift inside here, we go short. Otherwise, we just continue to go long until we reach zone number 1 and zone number 2. So that is Aussie dollar for you going in towards the 15. Is there anything interesting over there? Not really for myself. So moving on further in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar over here on the 4-hour time frame. So pound dollar was a beauty yesterday. What we can clearly see is that or at least I shared this yesterday in the community, Discord link in the description down below. But over here, what I mentioned in yesterday's video is that, okay, we saw the push down, pull back, push down. So this was your fractal high, the high of that bullish candle over here. That was your fractal high. So what happened in yesterday's video, or after yesterday's video, is that we broke the fractal high over here. So we saw a pure candle close. From that moment, you can pretty much just put your order in on that overall 4-hour area of demand, the sell for the buy candle with your stop loss below this area of demand, and then you target the next supply zone. So that's around a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward. So pretty good trade over there. So that was the 4-hour confirmation for further upside, and the overall structure, remember guys, was bearish but then flipped bullish. So it was down with lower lows and lower highs, but then flipped bullish, pull back, and then just continued up higher as expected. So overall, as long as this low for now holds, we are expecting further upside still from pound dollar all the way back up in towards that extreme potentially. So that is what I'm looking for over here on pound dollar. Overall on the 15-minute time frame yesterday, the overall trade was obviously over here. So what we got was that overall trend shift. So push down, pull back, push down, then again push up, pull back, and then continuation. So very clear setup over here on the 15 yesterday. And now overall what I'm waiting for today is to see, okay, can we just, for example, see continuation, pretty similar to euro dollar, liquidate the overall lows over here and then just continue and then see that structural shift. Then you can go for a long, otherwise just wait and see. But overall on the 4-hour, we do expect further upside continuation as long again as this overall low here holds of that bearish candle. So yeah, that is that, and supply playing out as well beautifully. Moving on in towards our last pair, which is NZDUSD and gold, the two last pairs. So NZDUSD continued to move up higher, didn't really pull back in towards here, and has grabbed the liquidity as expected since Monday. So very nice to see Kiwi dollar NZDUSD move up higher. As we can see, we're now inside of this area of supply. So now waiting for is to see, okay, are we going to see any slowdown? Until now we have, of course, straight away seen slowdown over here. We came back, liquidated again the highs. So now what I'm going to be looking for is a potential short, but first we need some more confirmation before we want to get into any shorts at the moment. So let's just wait and see what the 15-minute does. Preferably you would want to see kind of like a short-term pullback, then one more push up, for example, and then kind of like form this ascending pattern and then trade the overall structure shift that broke this high. This becomes your low, which breaks this high, and then boom, lower lows and lower highs, and then we expect that downside continuation back down in towards kind of like this area of consolidation over here, which is then also going to be your 4-hour area of demand, obviously. So going on in towards gold. So what are we looking for in gold? Gold continued to move up higher yesterday. As you can see, what happened is that we pulled back in towards this imbalance, not all the way in towards this one. So we pulled back and then just continued up higher. Then again, yesterday, this was your sell before the buy. We pulled back in towards there and then we just continue up higher. So, I mean, the overall estimation of gold continuing up higher has played out. I was looking for a short yesterday after liquidating this high over here. But again, guys, if I am looking for a short, and I do mention that I'm looking for a short, I don't just sell at a certain level, right? I need to see that bearish confirmation kick in. And how do I know that that bearish confirmation is kicking in? I know by looking for a trend shift. So once we broke this high over here, did I see any trend shift at all? Did I see any sign that structure was flipping bearish? No, I did not, because you can clearly see once we break the high, so the black line, you just pull back, push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, pull back. And then finally over here, what happens is that, so this is, let's say, a high, a higher high, a higher high, and then a higher high. Then boom, you break this low, then you pull back, and then you do in fact continue down lower, for example, all the way down in towards here. So a very clear example of how you should have waited, for example, for this to be your entry if you were interested in still selling gold towards the end of the day. So that is an example on how to trade gold. Now going back in towards the 4-hour, what are we expecting for today? I mean, we are squeezing in towards the high, so there is a chance of a potential push down lower. But I mean, it is FOMC today, so there's red folder news. So let's just wait and see. I mean, there is a lot of liquidity being built up above here. That's also the main reason why we have been moving up higher. So for now, I mean, the main target with FOMC is this fresh area of supply over here at around 2050 if we do move up higher. So if we do move up higher today with FOMC, this is going to be our target. If we do move down lower, then obviously this zone over here at around 2007 to 1995 is going to be your target. So zone number 1 and zone number 2. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day, and we will speak inside Discord. See you there.